International press, diplomats, and heads of state will be arriving in the U.S. today and tomorrow. It's the most heads of state that will ever have been at Camp David. Police say having a larger library of DNA samples allows them to solve more crimes.
What's our Black Friday forecast? What's it going to look like with shoppers coming out today?
For the Narcotics Task Force, a drug bust can be as easy as smelling 20 pounds of marijuana. Supreme Court only travels for the law's program one time each year. In critical condition after he was shot here on Jonathan Street just before 4 o'clock. Neighbors had just seen the victim bringing cans of kerosene for the heaters that he kept inside. Senators are hoping to raise awareness of the benefits to business owners who hire veterans. An indicator of sediment in the water, and sediment is a sign there's runoff going into the water. Police are investigating a shooting on South Market Street in Frederick that happened early this morning. 2 entrance points and 17 other ordering spaces. It should be a smooth ride.
Squeakers is a coatimundi.
And as you can see, they really mess up your vision.
Every time I say something, you're going to scream. Eyes are at the top of your lungs.
Get in line, get in shape, and take the hit.
Fairness, dignity.
I didn't know how bad it would feel like to be controlled every day of life, to be shot down at every mess up you make.
Because at Marine Corps boot camp, there's no going home until you're one of the few and the proud.
Quitting's not an option here. Once you're here, you're here. You got to put out, because you're here for a reason.
To make it through 13 weeks of mental, physical, and emotional training. And it's the drill instructor's job to make Marines.
Anything they do, they have to do it as a team. And if they don't, then they ultimately fail, and, you know, there's consequences.
From getting dressed to using deadly weapons, if recruits make a mistake, they'll have to do it right, over and over again.
By the 60th time they hear that command, it's going to be muscle memories.
Marines have some of the most intensive training of all the armed forces, so physical training is especially important on Parris Island.
You're probably giving it 100%, but they're going to want 110, so you might want to put out a little more.
Not just about stamina and strength, the recruits master marksmanship, swimming, and through it all, teamwork. One saying here, the more you sweat, the less you bleed.
Not everyone can do this. Not everyone can make it, and if you can make it, that's a tremendous honor.
Women make up about 6% of the Corps, and they do all the same training.
My mom wasn't really a fan of me being a Marine, but she became a fan.
And it's the core values that will take them through: honor, courage, and commitment.
I want to be a Marine extremely badly, so nothing's going to take that away from me. I'm not quitting, no matter what.
It's the promise all new Marines make to their country. Reporting from Parris Island, Katie Kairos, WHAG News. Barbed wire fences won't hold them anymore. Thousands of convicted crack cocaine offenders are walking free. Their sentences suddenly reduced under a revised federal law. More than 100 inmates will be released from prisons like this one and returned back into the Northern District of West Virginia. And some are headed to the Eastern Panhandle.
We support and respect Congress's decision, and we play by the rules, and we'll continue to diligently attempt to arrest dealers in the Martinsburg area.
The U.S. Sentencing Commission changed the Fair Sentencing Act to make penalties for crack cocaine closer to penalties for powder cocaine.
The sentencing was viewed to be inequitable because those people who were using crack cocaine with much fewer doses were being sentenced to longer prison sentences because of the weight.
It means 12,000 federal prisoners will have an average of 3 years shaved off their sentences. Because there is such a large number of inmates being released onto the streets, the U.S. Attorney's Office has spoken to local police departments and given them the identities of those offenders returning to the area. All the offenders released will be under court-ordered supervision.
They're going to be monitored by the federal probation officers. They have their own policies and procedures.
And police are on the lookout too, trying to ensure that this change in the law doesn't lead to a spike in crime. In the Eastern Panhandle, Katie Kairos, WHAG News. As friends mourn the loss of 3-year-old Kaiwan Connolly, they now realize the signs of the lifetime of abuse he may have suffered.
By looking at it, you could tell something was going on. But I didn't really want to come out and say anything because it wasn't none of my business and all that.
It never crossed my mind that it would be this.
Police say it's one of the worst child abuse cases they've ever seen. Both James Malden and his girlfriend Jasmine Dawkins have been charged with child abuse resulting in death. After Kaiwan collapsed at his home on Joshua Drive in Martinsburg, Dawkins told police she had seen Malden beating him in the head just a few days before.
I don't know why she wouldn't tell, because they have a baby together.
Police say his mother lives in Prince George's County and served a 9-month sentence for child neglect.
As soon as I told her, she hung up the phone.
Police say CAT scans revealed old injuries starting from when Kaiwan was just a few months old.
You did see bruises on his arm, stuff like that, but by being there with his dad and stuff, didn't look like his dad would do something like that.
Police say burns on the child's lower body came from a metal pan Malden would heat when he would force the child to sit in a squat position as punishment.
He would heat up a pan and put it underneath the child, and the child would obviously get tired, causing multiple burn marks to his lower body.
But somehow the abuse never broke Kaiwan's spirit.
He was sweet. He was the sweetest thing. Like, if you met him, you'd fall in love with him.
Despite the abuse, friends say Kaiwan was a playful child who loved to sing. But they remember one question he would always ask them.
He always asked, he said, "Can I come home with you?" That's what he asked.
Now the apartment where Kaiwan lived is covered with memorials.
Yellow roses, because yellow means peace.
But for him, this home was hell on earth. In Martinsburg, KKReel, WHAG News.